thing we didn't do is we didn't do any weapons training. And we didn't do anything where the bad guy has a weapon. Because surprisingly, only 11% of assaults on women involve a weapon, which is a lot less than I would have thought. And this is according to the FBI. And I was like, wow, that's kind of surprising. The weapon most often used is their bare hands. Now, and I'm not trying to sell the course, I'm just giving you info. I guess I am sort of trying to sell it. We've got a 2-day PPM where the first day is a lot of this type of stuff, unarmed attacker. But the second day, the attacker is armed. And we do strategies against if he's got a blunt impact weapon, if he's got a knife, if he's got a gun, and if there's more than one bad guy. That being said, there's also improvised weapons, which I mentioned a couple times, like picking up a chair, hitting them with a chair. It could be anything you grab me. It could be the side of your cell phone, like the corner of it, and hit them with the corner of the cell phone. It makes a pretty good improvised weapon. There's one a myth I want to debunk. So, what could be an improvised weapon?
A.C.T.
Okay, glad you said that. So, who wants to demo? Who wants to demonstrate? And I'm not saying like fighting. I'm just saying how would the keys be used? So go ahead. Okay, and that's the common thing. I call it the Wolverine technique. Is let me get, and a lot of people will do one, but a lot of people will also do like the whole, let me get how long this takes to get 3 or 4, and it takes a while, and then I get them. Well, this one's almost pointless. It's not going to do much. This one, that one's cutting into the skin of my fingers, which are thin, sensitive, and maybe this one. But if I punch something, I'm likely that right there hurt. I punch somebody, I might get one punch, and the hand tends to open up when it feels pain, and now I just drop my escape, my car. Now I don't have my car to drive the hell away from here. So this, I almost don't even consider it a last resort. Because if you drop them and you're under stress and you're trying to pick something up, it's really easy to fall down. If you do use the key, hold it like you would normally hold it. Because now I can stick him in the eyeball, maybe, but now I can open the door and I can start the car. But I don't recommend using your keys as an improvised weapon if you can avoid it, because I need that to stay secure and stay an escape plan. Right? Don't risk losing it. Getting to your car and discovering you dropped your keys somewhere, so you may not even know that you dropped them under stress. Right? So, different options. And there's this little thing that becomes a real big barrier. And I think Caitlin can demonstrate if you got the right kind of jeans.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah?
Talking about pockets?
Yes. Women's pants do not have decent pockets.
These are actually probably better.
Those are pretty deep.
These are because I am adamant about getting damn good jeans. But normally, this is it. I have a pair of jeans. They have like a little line for a back pocket. It's a fake. There's not even a pouch where you can just open the seam. It's like just the appearance back. I'm on rant. Small pockets, very difficult to like even carrying this. This is almost too big for my pocket.
And that's a pretty small knife.
It's pretty small.
So you may have to figure out things for yourself, or go on the great search for good pants. Maybe get in touch with Caitlin. She might be able to direct you someplace. Chelsea might be able to.
We're working on it. Make that database.
Yeah, like every time I come across an article, I'll share it on our private Facebook group, and I'll tag Caitlin and Chelsea and Joe. It's like, this might be an option.
Do you have one of the little flashlights?
I don't have a small one.
Okay. I lost mine, but there are like little flashlights that have this hella bright beam, and they're like this small. Like it doesn't have to have the window breaker teeth on it, which typically tends to trigger security. But it's metal, it's hard, it's sharp. and it's really useful. I used it all the time.
Yeah, I use
just
that with
get another one
contact.
or find the one I lost, but they're super handy and they fit in women's pockets.
Yeah, that is
You
a
wear, like,
streamlined.
leggings most of the time and you have no pockets.
Leggings, you're gonna have to. That's something that I'm still processing through because I don't wear leggings. I don't like them. But that is a good point. A lot of people do.
And something you could do is you just clip it on the inside of the waistband.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and just let it sit.
Mine is
I get a little
credit card pocket. It has like a little, what they call a credit card pocket, but
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a tiny thing.
Another one you can think about is a tactical pen. This is just a hard metal pen. One rule I have, and the guy who created this course has, it actually has to be a pen, not just something that is a pen. It actually has to write. I like this one because it's not quite as aggressive looking as most of them. Most of them look like they came out of like a Road Warrior. This one looks a little stylish, so you might be able to pass it off, but it is painful.
Regular pen also works.
Would this be considered a weapon in places where you're not allowed to have weapons?
It depends. Like TSA is getting really like tuned into these type of things, but like for the light, yeah, you probably carry that light on the plane because it's a flashlight, and that's what Kate was saying. You don't need the window breaker where they have teeth on the end of it, but really what that's for is like tearing skin. It's a DNA collector. That's why I like this one. Is this is very unassuming, but I can hit somebody pretty hard with it. It's metal, so even if I don't have a light, it's something I can hit somebody with.
Where's the, how does it work?
It's a cap you just pull, but it's pretty tight.
Oh, okay, I'm not gonna try it.
And like I have a metal barrel Sharpie, just plain old Sharpie, and I've taken that on buses where you can't have any weapons. I've taken it on planes with me because nobody cares if you're carrying a Sharpie.
And some
Or even just a big
workplaces
pen.
have a no weapons
Oh, we've
policy.
Yeah.
been reminded recently that mace, batons, anything that is a weapon is a fireable offense. So that's why I wondered, like, is this considered a weapon in a place that is that strict about weapons?
That'd be hard to say because some place may say it is and some may say it's not.
I guess I can check this.
What you can do, like that one's definitely considered a tactical pen, but you can just go find a metal pen.
Yeah.
Go to Office Depot, find a metal pen. That is not a weapon.
Oh,
I would not recommend using the plastic Bics. You might use one once. You
Yeah.
get one stab
Very,
and it
very
breaks.
practical.
there's the zebra pins that I use while I'm at work, I get like 10 of them for $7 or $8 at Sam's. I like them, they're kind of thin and metal, they got like a little plastic piece in them. So yeah, I might be able to get one stab, I might get two, I don't know. But yeah, I like those pins.
Yeah, there are things like pepper spray and stun guns and tasers. If you carry pepper spray, if you can find it, they do make versions that carry water so that you can train. Don't just have it and then not train with it. Because their factors consider like wind direction. You spray it and the wind's blowing back in your face, you're going to get some of that spray. And now you're choking and blind, and he's choking and blind, and it's not a good situation. So you have to be, and the other thing with that is, the big thing with both guns, knives, and pepper spray is deployment. Getting it out and into the fight. That's the hardest bit. That's why, like we were saying, like if depending on how close she is, I may not be able to get my gun. So, improvised weapons, I mean, it could be a hairbrush, it could be a comb, it could be the corner of your cell phone, it could be a chair, it could be a glass of water, throw the water in their face and then break the glass over their head. Anything, if you look at it as a weapon, can become a weapon. Now, some things are kind of useless, like a styrofoam cup, pretty useless. A vase, pretty effective. Right? A metal water bottle, pretty effective. Especially like, let's see it. And it's got some heft. But you don't hit it here, you hit it with this, the corner. That's going to cause the most damage. Right? And this it's pretty thick, so you may have to use it with 2 hands. If you decide to carry a weapon, like You know, maybe you are in a job where you can't carry, but you keep in the car and you put it on when you leave and get in the car. Like my job, I'm allowed to have one in the parking lot. I just can't have it in the building. But you know what they don't know won't hurt them. And they know what my job before I got there was. I was teaching shooting at government contracts, so they know that's what I do for fun. So it's not that big of a deal. But if you decide to carry, whether it's, you know, here's also collapsible baton. There's another tool.
No, those are expressed for
Yeah, that is definitely a weapon. That's not it's a pen, it's a light, but it might be a weapon. No, that's definitely a weapon.
That's a pointer.
Yeah, it's not. There's no other. It's not some other thing, right?
They're awesome. It's like you just flip it out and it's super hefty.
Yeah. That might be something you would carry, like if you go for a jog. You know, if you don't feel comfortable carrying a pistol, or you can't legally carry a pistol where you're at, then maybe that's an option. But if you carry any kind of weapon, you need to get some training on it. Like, this is one thing that drives me nuts in Alabama, is everybody has guns and hardly anybody trains. And hitting a bullseye does not mean you can fight with a gun. It just doesn't. You know, no offense to Dell, he doesn't know how to fight with a gun. He's a collector, he's an enthusiast, but he doesn't train. And there's a difference. He may be a great shot, it doesn't mean he can fight. I don't know what he's done. But I can tell he hasn't trained because he calls them clips. They're called magazines. They're not clips. That's just a nitpicky gun thing. And if you do carry a gun and you want some training, get in touch with me, because we do have a gun course that we teach. Doing one Mother's Day weekend, actually.
Spoiler alert, he's really good at it.
Yeah, Caitlin's taken it before. Let's see. Same thing with a knife, you know. Be careful, this one is a live, sharp blade. And pass this one around too. This is a kind of specialty one that I keep. Is the top edge is the sharp edge. This is dull. This is called a clinch pick. And a clinch is when you're entangled and grappling with someone. And this is sort of like a lock pick. This is a clinch pick. I'm going to pick the clinch, because I can get to it in tight spaces and now introduce a weapon into the situation and create space, which may then get into my gun or whatever. So careful with that one. That one's a little funky. So yeah, if you're going to have a weapon, you got to train with it. You got to learn how to deploy it, how to use it, how to be legally correct with it. Any questions on carrying weapons? Okay. Clothing considerations. Because trying to run from a bad guy in 4-inch heels may not be the easiest thing to do. Or depending on how you have to dress for your job. Like, I think Jo, she left for Japan this morning. But she has to dress a certain way for her job. She's always talking like foreign businessmen. She's the executive director of Japan America Society in Alabama. So she's constantly talking to Japanese business guys and stuff, so she has to dress a certain way for that job, which often involves heels. And it's like, if you have that kind of job, then maybe you need to kick your heels off quickly and practice how to get them off quickly without twisting your ankle, and maybe pick them up and use them as a weapon. Kind of talk about the pocket issue. Maybe somebody will like design their own clothing brand with useful pockets that still look good. I don't know.
Anyone knows big fashion designers?
Yeah. Yeah, depending on like dresses or skirts, how they fit and how they wear. If you get in a situation, you have to be prepared for the potential modesty issues. That if you're in a fight, some clothes may get ripped. All right. Guys get fights, their t-shirts get ripped all the time. So there was one guy, there was a serial rapist that got captured multiple times because they kept letting him out. I think they finally have given him life. I'm not sure how to follow up on that story. But he gave an interview what his tactic was. And what he would do after he had captured someone is, in order to get away, he would strip the woman naked, take all her clothes with him, and leave her somewhere. Because he knew that she would wait there for quite a while just out of modesty, of not being exposed to public while she's naked. And that allowed him to get time to get away. Until she finally realized, you know what, if I don't start walking out here, I'm never going to leave. And then they leave and they're okay. So, like Kelly's story, the story about the guy that went up to her apartment and attacked her. When she snuck out naked. She didn't let that stop her, especially when she knew if she stayed, she was going to die. And so she walked to her neighbor's house and locked the door and said, call the police. So her getting past her modesty saved her life. So just be aware if you're in a struggle or a fight that might happen. The nice thing about like free-flowing skirts is it allows your legs to move freely, which means you can move and you can fight. There's a reason, like a lot of warrior cultures, the men wore skirts. Romans, the Scots, the kilt. The kilt was designed for battle. Because if you're on the move and you gotta poop, all you gotta do is squat, do your business, and go. Right? And the whole thing with the kilt, with all the wrappings and everything, those are like blankets when you're out in the field. So you can cover up. You got extra stuff to use, but it's free flowing so you can move and fight. The Japanese had what's called hakama, which is like a two-legged pleated pant that looks like a skirt. But when it was time to fight, they'd pull the sides up and tuck them in so that their legs were free and wouldn't get caught up on anything. So that's one advantage with like pants, is your legs stay fairly free. One thing to consider if you do carry a weapon is dressing around your weapons and whatever the context is. You know, one context, like you're going to work out, you dress a certain way for working out. You have a big business meeting, you dress a certain way for that, and you try to find your best, like a consistent method. Don't really try to avoid rearranging your system for every different type of dressing thing, because then you're going to reach for a weapon that's not there. So it's best, as consistently as you possibly can, you want to keep the same system. Like, I dress with my weapons a certain way, and I do it the same way every day. And there's a reason why. I understand my personal context. Like, the guy who created this course, he teaches something a little bit different. Like, he's big on carrying your knife on the weak side. I don't. And I've got my reasons. And he's like, okay, as long as you understand why, but he still wants me to teach left-handed when I teach knife stuff. Like weak-handed. So, okay, I guess I can do that. But I personally don't do it that way for me. Yeah, I understand that, you know, if you get in a fight, your hair may get pulled out. And it's going to hurt. Nails will probably break. It's going to hurt. You got anything else for that kind of thing? I can't speak with ultimate authority on this.
Especially, unfortunately, I need to practice with. Actually, you know what? Let me just put it to y'all. What are some types of outfits, clothing styles you have to be in on a regular basis? Obviously, this is workout time, so t-shirts, yoga pants, leggings, whatever. What's regular day?
This is actually regular for me all the time because I'm either at the gym or I'm working out.
All right,
So
sweet.
I'm pretty much like this all the time.
Okay, so that's gonna make it really simple for your system. Like whatever you choose to have, either it's just a pen or a flashlight or a phone. I don't know. So I'll make it consistent for you. What's somebody else? Scrubs. Those have lots of pockets. But each different type of scrub pants have pockets in different places. So try and keep it consistent. Something else.
If I have to dress over, it'll be the pants with some wedges.
Okay. Pants and some wedges. So figuring out how to kick off the wedges. They're a little bit easier to run in, but not by a lot. Heels are, I don't like heels personally. But pants also good. Do they have pockets?
Yeah.
Sweet. That's awesome. So yeah, so you can keep it in your pocket there. And it's really just, it's figuring out, these are basic principles. It can't be matched to everybody's wardrobe. So you just kind of have to look at what you got and like, well, what if I hooked it right here? It's like, oh, no, that keeps falling out. You know, figure out something different. Or, dang it, that's where I normally put my keys. And it's getting in the way when I'm trying to get my keys out. This thing falls out. Just play with it. But take the time to play with it.
Yeah, this system that I carry, it took 2 or 3 months for me to figure out how I wanted to do it. Let me try it here. I don't really like that, and finally settled on one. And I consistently do it whether I'm wearing these type of pants with all the pockets or I'm wearing jeans. It works. Okay, so since we have some newly single people and some younger ladies, some dating strategies. So, one, if you find, if you have a date that you're going to go on, tell a friend, tell them who you're going with, where you're going, when you're going. And if you have that date, your date's contact info, give that to your friend, someone you trust, right? So if something starts acting unusual, that friend can start tracking down what's going on. And if possible, include a picture, maybe their Facebook profile or Instagram or something, online dating profile. That's the thing. And this is an interesting thing about culture, is that culture has changed. Like when I was in my early 20s, online dating, you were weird if you did that. But now it's the norm. Everyone does it. We wouldn't think of getting into a car with a person we don't know 20 years ago, and now we pay people to do it. Uber. We even open up our homes for other people to stay there when we're not there. Airbnb. So, and then like in heavier urban areas like New York, parents would rather their kids take an Uber than to take a subway or take a cab, because they can track it easier. Because you actually have to you see a profile of the Uber driver and have some of his information, you can backtrack. So always meet, arrive and leave separately at a neutral location for the first and second and possibly even the third date. Keep your phone charged all the time. That's something I don't understand, is people let their phones die. That blows my mind. I have a charger in my car, at my home, at my work. I probably have one in my backpack that I forgot about. My phone almost never dies. Now I recommend getting chargers for each of those locations. If nothing else than just the convenience of having your phone charged, right? And keep your car gassed up and well maintained. Like if you're going on a first date, have a full tank. I've had a woman follow me before, driving away and follow me through town, which is unusual, but they did it. She was with a friend, and they followed me. This is like 20 years ago almost. And then also communicate with your friend in increments. So if you're on the date, you can send them a quick text, hey, I'm here. I got to the location. I got to the restaurant. Maybe send them a text each hour or whatever time you decide. If it's nothing like, if it's something like, yeah, it's going well, or God, this guy's a fucking creep. And then that way your friend has an idea, and if maybe you have a backup plan, like if the date is crap, you can say, hey, this is not going well, he smells like cheese, whatever. And then you can have that friend call you and say, I've got this emergency. Oh, I'm so sorry, I've got this emergency. My friend, she's giving birth to an octopus. I gotta go. And it gives you a face-saving way to get out of the date. So communicate with your friend when you arrive at the location on each hour. Definitely communicate if you move to another location. You know, if you go for like dinner and you say, oh, let's go to this coffee shop or let's go to this ice cream shop, let your friend know, hey, we moved. And again, this is on like the first second when it's new. After some time, you build some trust, and then you have some trust. Text them when you leave, so they know, well, it takes about 20 minutes to get from there to here. And if you don't show up for an hour, they know something's up. And then, when you're home safe, like if your friend doesn't, if it's not a roommate type situation, say, hey, yeah, I'm home, everything's good, I'll see you tomorrow. And the option is meet at a new location with a trusted friend in case the date follows or starts stalking you, which does happen. If you go somewhere and having a drink, watch your bartender make your drink, because that's how a lot of drugs get slipped in. Oh, I'll go get us some drinks, and you trust that person to get you drinks that you don't know, and while he's there, he gets the drinks on the way back, and gives you a roofie. So watch your bartender make your drinks. Couple things for social media stuff. Like, a lot of people will check into a place or take a picture of a place and say, yeah, I'll have this meal at Joe's Burgers or whatever. Take the picture on your phone, then post about it later. If you post it while you're there, if you got a stalker and he knows your profile online, he knows where you are. So he'll just sit there and wait until he sees you. And maybe he follows you and finds out where you live. And it's extremely easy to do. It is ridiculously easy. There's I don't remember how to do it right now, but iPhone has a feature that you take a photo, it geotags that photo. If you send that photo, hey, I just bought, new bedspreads, and you send a picture to somebody, and they can see where that picture was taken. The way I found out about it, a friend sent me a picture. She had taken of something, and I was going through later on my photos, and I saw this feature, and I couldn't remember, and it showed me. I was like, what? And I knew where the house was that she took the picture. I was like, hey, you need to find these settings and change them, turn the privacy on, whatever. Because if you'll send this to me, and we hadn't known each other that long, but if you send this to somebody you don't know, they now know where you live. So turn off your geotagging, or you tag the restaurant like 3 hours after you left. If you want to promote, hey, this is really good food, everybody should try it. Nothing wrong with that, just do it later when you're not there. Like that's one thing I don't really do, is tag myself into places, because if somebody watches enough, they'll figure out your patterns. Like if you always go to Marco's Pizza on Wednesday nights, and you're always tagged, they'll figure out that pattern and they'll show up. So, and there's a lot of other stuff you can research online for that sort of thing. But in general, just be careful. Like if you do online dating, a lot of the online dating sites will allow you to connect your Instagram. Don't. Because they can see those pictures and start seeing where you hang out. Don't tag your other social media to that stuff. If you got a dating profile, fine. But have it as its own thing. Because everyone knows, like things like Tinder and Bumble, they connect through your Facebook. And if they have the right, especially if you have an unusual name, they may search for that name on Facebook, see your picture, now they can see your profile and start learning more about you. And maybe they can figure out more than you want them to know. You have to be careful.